All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first two stories that I have for you guys today are coming from Coach Abdullah over there at Oxygen Gym, the coach of Mr. Olympia, Brandon Curry. So Brandon Curry, the first piece of news here is that Abdullah posted a picture of Brandon on stage at the Arnold Classic, another show, another very prestigious title that Brandon has won. And a lot of people thought this was confirmation that Brandon was doing the Arnold Classic. So I just wanted to clear that up. Brandon is apparently not doing the Arnold Classic as of right now, even though that lineup is stacked. And Abdullah posted this picture right after they had just announced Rolly Winkler and Nick Walker to be added to the already stacked lineup. I'd heard rumors of Brandon doing the show. But if you go down to the comment sections, there's one comment where a guy says, Nick Strength and Power, it's kind of confirmed now. Now, Brandon's wife, which is Believer808, replies and says, no, it's not. He has no current plans to do the show. Abdullah says 13 weeks from the Olympia, right? Then Believer says they're talking about the Arnold, and then he laughs. So as of right now, that is not confirmation that Brandon is doing the Arnold Classic. I wanted to clear that up. I've seen some people out there saying that Brandon's doing the Arnold. As of right now, he's not doing the Arnold. I think it was just coincidence that Abdullah posted this picture in front of the Arnold statue here. However, another recent story from Coach Abdullah, kind of interesting here, is that he is now going to be coaching Blessing Awodabu. Now, Blessing, he made his pro debut at the Indy Pro. Earlier on this year, he also competed at the New York Pro, where he was hoping to face down with Nick Walker. And he did not look how he wanted to look. He did not place how he wanted to place. So now he's working with arguably one of the best coaches in the game right now, because he did coach Brandon Curry to an Olympia victory. And maybe if he goes out there and trains at Oxygen Gym with these guys like Rolly and Brandon and does these weird training camps. Well, I guess I shouldn't say weird training camps, extreme training camps over there at Oxygen Gym. What kind of change will that lead to his physique? Now, I think there was only a couple problems with his physique, and it was conditioning and it was size. I think there were some points where he was lacking size at various different parts of his physique, but mostly the lower body, like we speculated. And I think the conditioning was off, and I think he wound up coming in flat. Now, overall, from a structural standpoint, I think that Blessing has a fantastic physique. Now, if he can fix these weaker points, add the size where he needs to add, and then come in with crazy conditioning, I think Blessing will be a tremendous threat in the IFB. He has a very impressive structure. Like I've said, you cannot downplay the structure that he's got. He can hit a vacuum pose. He's got a small waist, super wide upper body, pretty good back. But there are definitely improvements that need to be made, and we saw that at the past couple shows that he did. But maybe working with Abdullah, he will be able to make those improvements and have an even more successful season next year in 2021. But I guess only time will tell, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Now, that being said, let's dive into some physique updates. It would not be an NSP news video without some physique updates. Let's start out with Iain Valliere. Iain posted a physique update ahead of the Tampa Pro, looking like he's already in pretty good shape. He's posted several updates where he's looked like he's huge. I mean, he looks like he's put on some significant size, but obviously the intent of this picture was to show off that he's in shape, show off that he's got abs, and his midsection is looking tight at this point in his prep for Tampa. I'm pretty impressed by Iain so far, I got to be honest. There was mixed reactions at the New York Pro victory, but I think nobody can deny that he looked pretty damn good at the Olympia, that 7th place placing, fantastic and deserved placing. And I think he's going to be, obviously, one of the top contenders in Tampa. He's doing the Arnold as well, of course. He's already committed to that, and I think that'll be cool. But yeah, I mean, I think Iain is looking fantastic, and I'm really excited to see what he puts together for Tampa. And I think at this point, he certainly has to be one of the favorites going into that show. And again, we don't know what show Rolly is doing before the Arnold. He has already said he wants to get to the Olympia stage. We know that the Arnold Classic cannot get him there, which brings me back to Tampa. Right now, I'd say Iain is probably one of the favorites in Tampa, but Iain is not currently qualified for the Olympia this year. Neither is Rolly. So if Rolly jumps in Tampa, I would say that would probably be the biggest threat to Iain at this point for not winning Tampa and not qualifying. So yeah, I don't know. The Rolly Winkler thing remains a mystery, but back to Iain, I think he looks fantastic. Which brings me to the next thing I wanted to discuss in this video, the updated point standings for the 2021 Mr. Olympia, and this includes the results of the Puerto Rico Pro Show. So this is the current standing for the 2021 Mr. Olympia, most up to date. So you've got James Hollingshead, Regan Grimes, Big Ramy, Brandon Curry, Phil Heath, Hadi Chupin, William Bonac, Justin Rodriguez, Nick Walker, Patrick Moore, and Akeem Williams are all officially qualified. Now, to make things clear, because I had some people asking me about this, just because somebody is qualified does not mean they've committed to compete. Some people were asking me about Phil's name being on this list. This does not mean necessarily that Phil is doing the Olympia, but we'll talk about that in a second. Now, the point standings. This is what you're going to want to be watching over the next couple of shows because obviously the winners of Tampa and Chicago, that's going to be huge, and they're going to the Olympia for winning. But based on the placings and who earns points at those shows, these top three could change dramatically after those two shows because I believe they're both Tier 1 competitions, so you earn the most points. So only the top three in the point standings will go to the Olympia. So right now, leading the point standings, you got Muhammad El Aman, Hassan Mustafa is 2, and Muhammad Shaban is 3. So the top two both have 15, so that's a tie, and Shaban has 10. I think after these upcoming shows, those point standings will change dramatically. And the top three going to the Olympia will be different. And again, we're going to have some names added with the winners of those shows, of course. But the point standings are definitely something to be looking at. Now, speaking of Phil Heath, and again, his name being on that list is not confirmation he's competing. But he did just put out a tweet where he says, "I haven't felt and looked this good in a long time. Body is finally responding after these 2 hernia surgeries and also a torn MCL from 2020. I'm enjoying this process, and all I can think of is triumph." But the hashtag on here is what's interesting. Hashtag comeback season. Hashtag the future is bright. Does this mean we will see Phil on the Olympia stage one last time? Possibly it does. Now, a few weeks ago, he did have that tweet that said 8 weeks out. Now, that could have meant 18 weeks out. That would have been 18 weeks out from the Olympia, but it would have been 8 weeks out from Tampa. Could he have just forgot the one on that 8 weeks? Could he be doing the Arnold Classic in September? Again, the Arnold is invite only, and you would think Phil Heath would get an invite to that show. So I think that's certainly a possibility. A final Olympia, I also think, is a possibility because I think every bodybuilder that's as great as Phil, I mean, let's be honest, Phil's a 7-time champ. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. He's had a hell of a career. Every bodybuilder that has that kind of legacy and that kind of career, I think they want to have a retirement Olympia. They want to have one last Olympia where people know it's the last one, where either when they get off stage or when they get on stage or prior to, they say this is the last one and I'm retiring from the Olympia after this. I don't think Phil would want to come back and place worse than he placed last year because he got 3rd last year. But I also don't think Phil would want last year to be his last Olympia without having an official retirement moment for that show. So maybe this could be his last year, his last run, and if he doesn't make it, I would think that he wouldn't want to compete again. He wouldn't want to go out any lower. So that's got to be what he's weighing on his mind. I don't know for sure, but the comeback season hashtag is interesting. The fact that he's been posting all these physique updates to me is very interesting. And honestly, for one, I'd love to see Phil make a comeback. So that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet already. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out.